Rise and shine, rise and shine. Greetings, my people. Greetings, my people. Today is November 27th, 2023, 8:42 a.m. And I titled this two things I want to talk about before I get out of here. Is I said Umar Johnson keeps low-key defending R. Kelly and keep T.I. and King, or King and T.I. And let's start with the first one that I'm talking about. So I saw him somewhere else. He was speaking live to a crowd, and he was talking about R. Kelly. And I saw this on TikTok, so I don't know where exactly it was, but he keeps talking about this whole thing of he's being locked up for the masters, right, or for control over his catalog or whatever it is. Could be, could be. Okay, so let's play that game. Let's play that. Let's play that entertain it all game. Could be. And then I just saw something. I think it's called DJU TV, where the title is like they're trying to make R. Kelly the face of pedophilia, and he goes on this long rant about the Epstein and Michael Jackson being accused, and Michael Jackson being stopped from buying Marvel. So they use that. Okay. Now let's as the honorable Dr. Khalid Muhammad would say, let's kick the ballistics. First thing, in my opinion, he's not being made to be look like the face of it. Because if you know, you know. If you know what NAMBLA, the North American Man Boy Love Association, if you know what that is, you know, right? Um, but here's the thing. See, here's the slippery slope about spitting knowledge. When you're talking about your own people being black people say you tear down your community or you're tearing down people. And then when you're talking about the other side, when you're talking about white folks or white America and their degenerate behavior, there's this fear of saying you got to stop before they come after you. So you're always in a catch 22 or a double edged sword. But how about this? Let's try this shoe on right here. Nobody's making him the face of anything. As far as like black community, we either exonerating him, which is like I see 80% of 90, because I don't even think 10% of people even want him held accountable. And then you have maybe, let's say, I'll say 4%, 4% that sees it like predatory, effed up behavior, right? So for you to be Mr. King Kong consciousness, for you to be sitting on this thing and talking about you're the most requested and you all of this and all of that, and you have, like I said, King Kong consciousness, meaning your conscious level is above everybody else's. You can't see this muddy water. This is the second time you keep saying, but they trying to make him, you're always trying to give this little like backdoor excuse. Then you go on and say on the DJU TV thing, you say, if, as if you don't know, as if you just think all of these are allegations. But you was the one that was pouring libations for James Baldwin, and then you said it was allegedly that he was a homosexual. And everybody knows James Baldwin was homosexual. So you play kind of naive to a lot of things, but you missed the conscience, King Kong consciousness. I get it. But you said now if he did it, he should be held accountable. What you mean if? What you mean if when he married a young Aaliyah? Okay, now let's play the parent game for y'all. Just gonna jump in the comment and talk about the parents did. Okay, parents set it up, right? Does that not mean that child is still, because like he went on his long rant and y'all favorite man boasted. He sat on Vlad TV and said that was consensual with all that white foam in his mouth. That was consensual. He was saying them giving permission for him to have way with the parents' permission for him to have his way with their children was consensual. Now back to your man's Umar. He says, how can a young boy give consent to have sex with a grown man? How can a young girl consent to having sex with a grown man? So what I'm doing is comparing these apologists and comparing these sympathizers to where 1 minute you're saying it was consensual, the parents set it up, the parents did this, and then the next minute you're just saying that, oh, you got people that just want money. Never really placing the blame where it is, because guess what? If somebody offers a grown man, if somebody offers me their daughter, whose decision is it to take it? I want y'all to sit in that thought. Whose decision is it for you to take it? Because nobody can force your penis to become erect. And nobody can force you to insert it, not unless you're at gunpoint. And nobody spoke on that. So to even check the mind of this, because he was a very calculated person, he knew exactly what he was doing. When they say you got him on, when he got them on tape, and you hear them girls speaking, and when people say like, okay, in the Cassie situation, and they say, ignorant people say, well, why now? Why she decided to come out? This is why Black women don't come out and say nothing. Because there's a million grown men and women ready to attack. Now, that's not saying don't question it, right? Because like I said, we're gonna entertain it all. We're gonna play the game because you have to. Let's just keep the bread fresh. You have to entertain it all. But at some point, your wiser self and your discernment should kick in. See, and shout out to the late great brother Panic, who taught me to understand the humanity. See, it's your humanity. It's your love for earthly music that make you respect and still sympathize with R. Kelly. It's your humanity that want to hear a good song and a good album that make you ignore predatory behavior. Because I guarantee you, if he was Robert Kelly, the basketball coach that was doing this to underage children, none of y'all would have that same approach. But because he's a musical genius that called himself the what? Pied Piper. Now, what is the Pied Piper, you may ask? Like I tell my little baby, well, ask me a question. Well, why'd you ask that? And I said, well, I'm glad you asked. Well, I'm glad you asked me, what is the Pied Piper? And I'm sure y'all know, because we're intelligent people, I think. But the Pied Piper was also brought up by Walt Disney. This is a Walt Disney cartoon who also was alleged like underage. Let's play that game. So the Pied Piper also surrounded a grown man who did work for a community, right? He ridded this town of rats. They had a rat infestation. And he used his music. Did he have a flute? To lure the rats away. He made a deal with the king. The king agreed to pay him. And he used this music to lure them away. And they refused to pay him. So he vowed to get revenge on them, and he did it through kidnapping their children. And not only did he not kidnap their children, but he did it in a fashion that he took them to a whole nother world. And this was a grown man running off with little children. Now, this is a cartoon. This is supposed to be a child's cartoon. See, they're speaking to your consciousness. They're putting it in there because they know once they entertain you or they get you comfortable, they can open you up for anything, right? So he called himself the Pied Piper. Then when I was researching the Pied Piper, I came across this cat named Dean Corll, Corll, who not only was called Candyman, but was called the what? Pied Piper. And check him out for yourself. Check him out for yourself. Anybody that come across this video and listening, check it out yourself. So also, didn't he have an album called The Chocolate Factory? And what was The Chocolate Factory? Wasn't that a play on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? Who was a grown man who was surrounded by kids in a chocolate factory? Now, surely I'm not saying Gene Wilder was doing that with those children. But what I'm saying is you got to see beyond this stuff. But you guys get caught up in the fandom. You guys get caught up in the celebrity. You guys get caught up in the human shit. And it make you say things like, I don't care what he did. I mean, well, where the parents was. I mean, the parents need to be brought down too. So does that mean let's take, because I was watching the second season of BMF. Should the parents be taken down with Big Meech and them? Should the parents went down because they knew what they was doing? So how wide do we open that? Is it just for a crime like pedophilia? Or should everybody that knows somebody or involved or receiving something from a criminal act be held accountable too? Because you got to be careful how you play that game now. So what I'm trying to get y'all to see is to stop making these excuses. Because that's all it is. It's an excuse. If you like his music, just say, hey, I love his music. I'm going to support him. But when you get off into you don't care what he did, now you're getting off into I don't care about what happened to those young girls. Now, if those are liars in the bunch, and I believe that there are liars in the bunch that's just trying to extort, you got liars also, but the liars shouldn't negate the truthers. And so, you know, people like Umar Johnson, who's supposed to be King Kong consciousness, you are supposed to be here. You jump out here with this whole different standard that you are. So you have to be responsible for the things that come out your mouth, dude. But you on that type time anyway, not to the children, but you on that type of time that you grimy anyway. So, you know, you probably will turn your head for something like that too, especially if they put something in your pocket. But as grown men, we should do better. Especially when you have a consciousness. You have a different level of responsibility. But you know, that's what I want to say about that. Now, the next part before I get out of here is talking about over the weekend, Sunday, I live in Atlanta. So I guess it was rivalry week. I know that was definitely a rival game against because only reason I said rival week because Georgia and Georgia Tech all played Bama, Auburn, you know, a couple of rivals. But interesting thing, I saw King and T.I. get into a little scuffle. There was a little subterfuge, as T.I. used all them big words. There was a little subterfuge going on in the area, and King was up to his chicanery. And that's how y'all men be saying chicanery and his inner monstrosity. It's just a little CP humor. But anyway, now, you know, and again, like the whole John Morant situation, you got grown folks that's always sitting here telling kids how they are. Oh, they ain't built like that. And again, y'all are coming with this whole, he provided this lifestyle. And the young man is saying, I know you capping. Now, none of those other children are like that. None of them other children are like that but King. And the more I keep telling, I got a friend that I keep telling, the more you keep saying he not like that, the more he gonna want to do what? Prove he like that. Maybe he just got hot head energy because he is his dad's son. So if you listen to some of T.I.'s albums, he tells you every bit of what King is that's how he behaves. But we say, you know, because I was saying it to a degree, you know, he ain't got to be in them trenches. His daddy was the one in them trenches. But this is something I also was thinking about as I was taking a shower. I said, okay, we keep talking about children that come from privileged lifestyles that's trying to be Malibu's most wanted, B-Rads, right? But what about adults that have made it to privileged lifestyles that still glorify gangster music, drug dealing, Rick Ross, I'm the biggest boss. I bought 20 trikes and tanks and all of this. And Jim Jones said, I might smack a brain up out your head because I'm so emotional. I kissed my mother and I'm so emotional. What about them type? Or you still got Cameron and Mace that's calling each other killer and murder. Huh? But y'all keep coming at these youth. Killer, murder, blood raw. We call on the most demonic energy. We call on the most killer. We call on the most psychopath energy. But they say, he's providing a good life for you. You think King wasn't around and really know what go on in that house? Or do we think all these celebrities are just Cliff Huxtables? They just provide it, and because they're still together, that was happy? You think he didn't know? You think he ain't heard a lot of them songs where his dad is talking about cheating on his mom? You think he ain't heard arguments of them about cheating? Hmm? When he was caping for Bernice Burgos, you think that young man? So all the other ones could have fell in line, but it's always that one, maybe even two. So what you are looking at is a creation of your own. We keep talking about he ain't like that. He grew up. Sometimes I keep telling y'all, money is not everything. And that's not from a broke perspective, because when you get it, it don't solve your problems. It solves your financial problems, but it don't solve all your life problems. But y'all refuse to understand that. Maybe that little homie is just a hothead that's just destined for whatever. He said, "Standing on business." Don't he sound like his Uncle Boosie? Look at Boosie and his son Tootie. Look at Boosie and all his children. Hmm? But he provide them a lifestyle. I keep telling y'all about this provide stuff. So they are trying to be carbon copies of the men that they see in their life. But y'all talk shit about these young homies. Gotta do better. So that's my end of my rant. I just want to say that I may come back and do something else, but do better. Peace. It's a shame, but I'm up out of here. And go back and look at this. Anybody that go back and check it out. Peace.